Wowzer. Okay, hey, it's the holiday season. Here we go. And how not to get sick. Now, I don't mean sick by overeating. I mean sick like how not to get the cold, how not to get the flu, how to keep healthy in this stressful time. It's a joyous stress. But what's up, everybody? Hey, with two friends, we're just talking. We're not giving you medical advice. That's Magnus in California. I'm here in New Jersey. Wellness Week Live. How to survive the holidays. And can you really get that big like the bodybuilders without taking roids and hormones and all this crap? Well, let's get right into it. So the holidays first. Magnus, I don't know about you, but sometimes the holidays can be very stressful because you're running around, you got to work, you got to go here, you got to go shopping, your body's worn down. So I think for me, one of the ways that I stay, we can go back and forth on this, but one of the ways I stay healthy during the holidays is I make sure I take preventative higher doses of like vitamin C, like airborne. I'll do
Yeah,
that. And what about you? What's one of the things that you do?
rest.
I was going to say that. That didn't sound sexy, but you're right. Because now a lot of people might say, well, I can't do that. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you have to make it a priority. Even if
Yeah,
it's just lay down on the couch for 10 minutes, take a cat nap, or, try to get to bed earlier. Right. Rest is probably the biggest frigging key is the sleep. I would also say hydrating.
yeah.
Making sure. Now, this is funny because the holidays is when everyone's going to start drinking more beer, more wine, more vodka, more alcohol. And that's
That
when
was that was my next thing. Like, don't consume a lot of alcohol.
that's what's going to make you sick because alcohol's a poison. It's absolute garbage. I understand we all drink it, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you're banging away, you're going to be in a world of
No,
hurt.
but the thing is, what you need to understand too, like alcohol. We've been talking about this several times, but let's do it again. First of all, alcohol. It's a toxin, right? So it affects us, nerve toxins. It affects our liver, things like that, which is helpful in actually keeping us healthy. The next thing is that when you drink alcohol, your sleep suffer. Your sleep quality completely tanks,
Right.
and usually amount to. So that's a double whammy, and then also dehydration, right? So there's so many things that is bad when it comes to staying healthy and trying to drink. I know you go into parties and things like that, but like every other water, like you have a cocktail or a beer or wine, and then you should at least drink a glass of water with that. Yeah, it might sound boring, but if you want to stay healthy, I think that's a key.
Right.
If you're drinking, you have to like pace yourself.
Right. And hey, ask yourself, do you want to be sick? If you do, then drink more alcohol. It's that
Yeah,
simple. I mean, hey, honestly, you may say, no, I'm okay with being sick this holiday season because I want to drink alcohol. Oh, you do you, but don't act like, oh, poor me. I don't know how it happened. Come on. So, yeah, the other thing I would say, this might seem kind of icky, but it is true. Like, don't pick your nose because viruses, as you know, and bacteria, where they come in through the nasal passage or the eyes, more than likely, right?
yeah,
So when you're
yep.
picking your
Or
nose,
ears,
oh, really?
ears too.
Oh, I
Yep,
didn't know that. Okay.
yep. No,
Don't pick
every
yours.
every cavity, it's like you expose yourself to it. So mouth is usually a little bit better because we have saliva,
Right.
we
Protect you.
have we have enzymes, and also it goes straight into a acidic bath, right down in our stomach. But looking at it, lungs, nose, eyes,
Right.
ears,
Right.
number two, and so
Wow.
on.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
no, that's definitely places where people don't understand that we definitely can get sick. So
that. Right.
so yes, like personal hygiene.
Right.
Again, washing your hands, constantly washing your hands, taking care of your hygiene is super super important. Wash
Yep.
before you eat,
Don't
wash
rub your
after you
eyes.
eat.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Don't, yeah, like you said, don't pick your nose or eyes or ears, things like that, without cleaning your hands first, and
Right.
so on.
Yeah. I was gonna say, also if you're traveling on a plane, which most people are going to be doing on holiday
Yeah.
season, you can also before you get on the plane spray your nose with saline solution because the dry air from the winter or the
Yep.
cabin air makes micro cracks, and that's how viruses and bacteria get in. So that's why you're less sick in the summertime because there's more humidity and it's warmer. So you want to put that, or even a little, maybe tiny little dab of Vaseline in there to kind of help, keep it
Yeah.
moist.
And neti pot too. People might think that that's a weird, but neti pots actually do help out because it flushes out a lot, especially like you said, before and after traveling. So you're removing buildup and things like that that can get stuck there, and which that's usually why we also get sick, because over time bacterial buildup and things like that causes us to actually go over kind of body's fighting off, and then finally it just gives into it because it's we get sick. Like
Right.
we have like all these mucus and things like that in our nose. So yeah, definitely work on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say also vitamin D3 and or getting out in the sunlight. It's
Yep.
harder in the winter because
Sunlight is not gonna work now. You're not gonna get D3 if you're kind of in the northern hemisphere, because the sun rays, the angle, it bounces off. So we basically have to wait March, April, even later for it to have. So now is definitely a season to add in some vitamin D3 into your rotation.
right. Yeah. Okay. So vitamin D3. I'll also say exercise. You don't have to sweat your ass off, but
Move.
walking,
Yep, go out
weightlifting,
and move. Be outside. Being outside is good.
right? Fresh
Sunlight,
air,
even if you're not getting vitamin D from it, is very very important for circadian
mood.
rhythm. Just being out, being healthy,
Yeah.
and also fresh air. Instead of being cooped up in an airplane
Yeah.
or like at someone's house, things like
Yeah.
that, get out for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know what I do in the winter, Magnus? In the winter, it doesn't matter if it's 10 degrees out. I like a couple times a week, I'll open my windows and just kind of flush the house,
Yes.
get that air in, and then I'll shut the windows. And it'll
Yeah.
be a little bit chilly, but it's okay. The heat's on; it'll warm it up. But you're getting that rotation of air filtering that you're getting. And also, I have an air filter, a HEPA air filter, in my
Yeah.
living room, which does the whole almost first floor. Big proponent of that.
Nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah,
I mean, it's something that I used to do, like when I was living in Sweden. Every single morning, I usually was hanging out basically my duvet cover and things like that, and pillow up, just to get like fresh air on it and air it out.
yeah,
So I basically that's something that I did basically daily. It's not that easy because our windows are different here compared to in Sweden. We have mosquito nets and everything like that, so it's a hassle trying to get it out. But yeah, otherwise usually just 5-10 minutes just to air it out.
yeah, yeah. The things that we can do, and I would also say managing our stress load, right? I mean, like, we don't have to buy everybody, expensive gifts. Like lower the temperature on yourself, people. Like I oftentimes just
And,
buy $10 gifts for people, $5
yeah,
gifts. Like I'm not gonna go, relax, man.
Anthony, another thing is also like being able, sometimes you have to be able to say no as well. I
Right,
know there's a lot of pressure and things like that, but sometimes you need to think about yourself before everybody else. Saying no and not falling into the FOMO trap. It's
right.
like fear of missing out. Like, don't worry, there's going to be other holidays and things like that. So you will be fine. I can guarantee it. And like, remember what's important. Like, again, getting gifts and all this, it's just a side effect that it's like, don't think about that. Actually try to spend time with people and be in the now, not like thinking and arguing about things that happened in the past and things like that. Actually try to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, yeah. To your point, it is the holidays. Enjoy, right? Enjoy the company of people. Time is more precious than gifts and money. And I would say carve out a little time for yourself. Like I like to go
Yeah.
to local Starbucks or local cafe, read my book for an hour, or half hour or whatever. Like make some time for yourself, alone time. Me
Yep.
time. Even if you just go for a car
maybe
ride or walk.
maybe go to the gym, maybe go jump into the sauna, something like that too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something, another way of taking care of yourself too. So
100%. 100%. Okay, so now on the topic of taking care of yourself, let's
yeah.
segue into bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but for some reason, I've always kind of been interested, and of late too, I've been really following professional bodybuilders.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, say what you will, obviously they're all taking drugs. Most of them are the professional ones, and they'll admit that too. But there's something I really enjoy about like the sculpting and taking this, the human body and making it something that it is amazing. You're building something, you're sculpting something, and I really appreciate that in these men and women because it does take discipline and hard work. But this is a rhetorical question. But Magnus, you're a professional trainer and all that stuff. I mean, is it really possible for a professional bodybuilder, to be 250, 300 pounds, ripping, bulging muscles naturally. But
No,
no,
no, and everybody's upfront. It has definitely changed. I would say the mindset the last couple of years. People are way more open, and talking about these super heavyweight weighters like that are 300 pounds plus during off season, and they're not that much or around my height, like 5'10",
yeah,
5'8", 5'10", six
yeah.
feet, you know, like it's hard, keeping muscle mass on your body. The body really doesn't want that because it's expensive,
Right.
like we constantly have to eat and it's things like that. So uh, we know that you can build an incredible physique without any type of PEDs or steroids or hormones and things like that. Some people are just genetically gifted. we,
But they're
we, we
not going to be able to do
but
like,
not super heavyweight. Forget it. Like,
yeah,
it's not happening.
yeah,
And I would like to say and point things out. We're seeing a lot of uh, people dying young in that
because
industry.
they're taking
Uh,
these drugs.
yes, and also you see it's also like most of the time why people fall out is that they get injured, and then all of a sudden they stop taking their steroids. They can't train the same, not the same intensity, and their bodies just fall apart. And I've seen that now with several promising bodybuilders, like that was top physique, close to basically winning Mr. Olympia and things like that, and they have completely
Right.
destroyed their bodies.
Oh yeah. And by the way, I mean, people will say, these bodybuilders will say, they'll try. Here's the thing, though, you know, and again, I respect these bodybuilders, men and women, but and they'll admit that they're on some kind of drug, but typically they try to mitigate and say, well, I'm not taking that much, and hey, nothing replaces hard work. You listen, without the drugs, you're not going to be the size you are. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Okay.
Yeah, I
Don't
think I
people act
think
like, oh yeah, the drugs really don't play a big part. No, they play a huge part. No pun
Oh
intended.
yes, they do.
You know,
They do. The thing is, like, you're not gonna succeed if you're starting taking steroids when you're a teenager.
right?
That's you're setting yourself up to failure. You usually see the people that are training hard for, like, looking at it 15, 20 years, very dedicated, they
Yeah,
have good genes, things like that.
yeah,
Once they cross over and start using steroids, those are the ones that are usually successful because they know the foundation, they know how much they need to work and so on, and be dedicated with the diet and things like that. They do not try to use steroids as a shortcut. That's basically what they're using it for, is the tip of the spear, right? Because they're already gotten that far and they're close to their, like, genetic kind of ceiling. That's when people, but nowadays so many teenagers do not understand that, like, the hard work of building something up and getting the right experience, and they want results straight away.
right.
So you see these kids that are like teenagers, early 20s,
Yeah,
are using a ton of
yeah.
steroids.
You got them on YouTube, and it's sad.
Yes, and then they, yeah,
And
it's
by the way,
sad.
we're not even touching upon, if they're not taking steroids, taking all these over-the-counter supplements that they're not
Hmm.
steroids, they're not injecting, but they're these powders and liquids, and
Yeah.
that's not good either, really. I mean, a lot of that, none of that has been FDA cleared or CDC cleared. I mean, it's just like, it's you're putting
Yeah,
crap in your body.
again, very few supplements have had enough research to actually say that they're okay or they actually give any results, right? And it's also so funny when you see a lot of these guys also are sponsored of with different supplement companies, and I use this and I use that, and trying to promote things. And, like, dude, let's be honest. Okay, that's nice, but the thing that actually gets you over the edge is that you're taking steroids and you're not being honest about it. You see
Yes,
way too many people that are not honest about it and say that, oh, you can get this big if you use my
right,
program
right.
or my
Yeah,
supplements
that's
and
bullshit.
things like that, which is complete BS. And I think it's even worse when you have these Hollywood actor and actresses saying the same thing,
Yeah.
and they're selling programs and things like that. They're trying to sell a dream that people can't achieve. They're not being honest, and that's even worse than like just seeing a bodybuilder saying like, "Oh, I'm training and I'm taking
Right. And by the
steroids."
way, you're talking steroids. I mean, I heard about things called like trembolone and stuff. That's like
Yeah, that's steroid.
horse
That's still a
or cat.
steroid.
It's a steroid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like things that they inject cattle with. I'm like, what the fuck? You're taking
Yes,
that shit?
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of a lot of these type of drugs and medicine are actually created for uh, food production. I mean, we're talking about like beef and like cow and so on, pig, because you want the cattle to grow as much as possible, right? With as much muscle mass, because that's what they sell, right?
That's the meat. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the insanity behind it. And also, you have like horse race horsing medicine. So you have
Right.
like horse asthma medicine that people take, and that is also a steroid. No, it's insane. But I think it was either it's Arnold Schwarzenegger or Franco Colombo when they said, growing up during the 60s and 70s, and when steroids were still kind of legal in bodybuilding or in sports, that they basically said like, oh no, but we would have eaten poop if someone told us that poop
Right.
would have, and like show
100%.
that poop. Yeah, so
100%.
that just shows you how dedicated they are to their craft of
Yeah.
just getting bigger.
Right.
And I think that is important to understand that, like, why are you taking steroids? I mean, just to be big in your local like gym. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a little bit like, oh, you're a person that kind of peaked out in high school, and you try to live your high school football dreams and try to be the big man on campus. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it,
It's
I,
insane.
I do understand professional bodybuilders. I do understand people that are trying to become pro athletes, why they're taking it, because we're talking about an earning of millions of dollars, and they're taking a huge risk. But just doing it to be jacked,
Yeah. Well,
like
people do.
it's.
Yeah, human beings are very vain, and
I mean, you. I mean, it's the same thing. Most of us seen Jersey Shore. You've been exposed to it in real life, so you know what we're talking about. I mean, like, and it's not cool being a juiced up
no. Yeah.
meathead. Look, don't get me wrong. A lot of these people that use steroids and things that are the nicest people on
Oh
on
yeah, not
planet
bad
Earth.
people, but it's
Yeah,
just
and saying that steroids will make you like with the roid rage and things like that. It's usually like bad people to start out with, get bigger and have a even bigger ego by taking steroids, making their
right.
personality even worse.
Magnifies the good and the bad.
Yes, exactly. But most people that I run into that use steroids, things like that, are very like open about it when you start talking about it, and they're a lot of them have a lot of knowledge about things too. Like that
Yeah.
that even medical doctors have no clue because they don't have first-hand experience. They have a lot of her first-hand experience, and they talk a lot in between one another, so they get a different understanding of it. But I'm not a person to promote it at all. I do understand like hormone replacement therapy,
Right.
and I completely agree with that. With getting like the dosage to actually become like have a better life quality, but there's also this kind of fine line between like helping and abusing
Oh,
things,
yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So even if you get TRT and you try to trick your doctor into like sometimes people obviously don't need it, but they make the doctor to write it out for them, and in the end, I mean, that is more abuse
Yeah.
than just trying to stay
And hurting
healthy
your
and
organs and stuff.
feeling good.
Yeah. No, for sure, dude. Yeah, no, well put, dude. I mean, I have nothing else to say about the steroid thing, but anything else you want to add, Magnus, before we sign off?
No, I mean, again, like again, I'm falling back to parents. Please make sure, this is like we talked about this earlier about having the talk with with kids about the
Yeah.
sex and relation and things like that. I think this is also an important thing to discuss too, especially when we're talking about kids trying to become bigger and like they want to have a nice body and things like that, or they're into sports. Have this talk too, like do a little bit of reading, and I mean there's a lot of facts that you can get and that can help out, and have a conversation about these things. Same thing with other, like I think steroids should definitely be mentioned when we're talking about other drugs and trying to like explain to kids what is actually going on.
100%. Yeah.
So don't just put it aside and like blame society and things like that. Be on top of it and explain it for the kids why pro athletes get caught using it and why they should not be using it and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I mean, it has a different danger than crack and heroin and other things,
Yeah,
but
but
they're
it's
both,
still dangerous.
oh, they're both dangerous in their own
Yeah.
ways. 100%.
The thing is with steroids and early abuse is that you can destroy your whole
Oh,
hormone like system for the
100%.
rest of your life. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to say like don't like have the kids like explain to them the dangers of it and be on top of it so they don't do it. Have them actually like learn the foundations of training, why it's important and so on, and get them into a good relationship when they come with their bodies and actual training.
Right. 100%. Well said, Magnus.
Thank
Ladies
you
and
so
gentlemen,
much.
you heard it. Don't forget, check back in, like, subscribe. Thank you. But that's right. That's right. We're going to survive the holidays. We're going to see you next week. Thank you, Magnus. Thank you, everybody. Check back in. I'm going to sign
Bye
this
guys.
5, 4, 3, 2.